go. Here we go. The ceremony will now come to order. Good evening. I'm Provost Sunil Kumar. I'm honored to serve as Chief Marshal for this convocation ceremony. At this time, we welcome to the podium Joshua Kretschmann, representing New Student Orientation Team.
Please welcome two of JHU's a cappella groups, the Sirens and the All-Nighters, performing the national anthem. Please be seated. Hello, and welcome class of 2023 and transfer students. My name is Joshua Kratchman, and I'm a junior here at JHU, majoring in biomedical engineering. I am the Parent and Family Programs Coordinator for the Office of Orientation and First Year Experience. Up until this point, I have mostly been in communication with parents and families, making sure they have all felt comfortable during this huge transition in their students' lives. However, now, I am honored to be able to speak to you, class of 2023 and transfer students, and extend myself as a resource if you need anyone to talk to. Over the past few months, the orientation team, your first-year mentors, countless faculty and staff, as well as student volunteers, have dedicated thousands of hours of hard work in order to make this past week possible. We have been sending you newsletters, scheduling speakers, presentations, and events, guiding complex discussions, learning an unimaginable number of icebreakers, welcoming you all into your new campus homes, and so much more. We truly cannot thank each and every person enough for their contributions to your orientation experience. As we reflect on our past week together, many of your first nights spent on campus, maybe even the first time some of you have ever set foot on this campus, we come together to share our first Hopkins memories. Orientation is not a time to just learn the ins and outs of our university, but perhaps more importantly, it's a time to form new connections. And these new connections are the individual threads that join together to form the tight-knit community we call Johns Hopkins. So my hope is that this past week has been a time shared with the people around you. I hope that when you look back on your first few days at Hopkins, you remember not only the highs and the lows, but also the people you were with and the impact that they had on you. Because every person in this room is here for you tonight. The faculty and staff, your peers and your mentors will challenge and support you during your time here at Hopkins. And you may face obstacles that at first glance seem insurmountable. It is in these moments where I welcome you to turn to a friend, a floor mate, a professor, really to anybody, and say these three magical, life-changing words: I need help. We hope this week you have learned how many people are in your support network and how ready they are to be there for you, to listen, and to help you grow during your years here. While orientation is packed full of information and resources, we cannot teach you everything that you will need to know in order to thrive here at Hopkins. Asking for help does not mean that you are weak or that you are not able to achieve your own success. Rather, all it says is that you'd prefer a little company along the way. Johns Hopkins is an amazing university, and you're going to have opportunities that you both stumble across and that you're going to have to go out and chase for yourself. My advice to you, take every opportunity you can to use this time to grow as a person. My final message, and perhaps most important, your status as a Blue Jay will stay with you forever. Be proud of who you are and do not try to fit any particular mold but your own. And it is at this time where I welcome and invite the class of 2023 to recall a time on the 50-yard line at Homewood Field when someone taught you a little callback that said that no matter where you're from or who you are or what you want to be, that you are forever. Let's do a little more, one more time. Forever. Welcome to the nest, class of 2023 and transfer students. At this time, it is my honor to introduce Aspen Williams, the Student Government Association Executive President.
Good evening. My name is Aspen, and I'm here to welcome you to the beginning of your time here at Johns Hopkins University. Your acceptance and decision to attend this school have put you on the front lines of what humanity has to offer. I know you've worked diligently and intelligently to make it to this institution, and your hard work has paid off because you deserve to be here. Today, I want to reflect on my time here as it's drawing to a close in the hope that you will understand the great joy I experienced as an undergraduate, and so that you may continue the legacy of relentless and unapologetic excellence. My time at Hopkins has provided me countless research, networking, and co-curricular opportunities, and having had these experiences, I can promise you that the most valuable of moments are beyond what a glossy brochure will ever flaunt. The people you meet here are incredible because we as individuals have devoted ourselves to be the groundbreakers of the next generation. Your peers are excellent because you are excellent, and you deserve to be here. And you are no longer just a student, but part of a larger community of engaged scholars who exist in this realm of exceptionalism. Being here means that you are the imminent future of scientific innovation, law, finance, thought, and medicine. I am not exaggerating when I tell you that the future leaders of the world are sitting in this room right now. And before college, I would have never imagined standing here with you today. My mother dropped out of high school at 17, and my father never finished his first semester at university. But like all good parents, they wanted better for their children than what they had growing up. My mother's dream for me was that I would one day receive my high school diploma. And being a first-generation college student, I've had to learn and relearn how to navigate academia. As I stand in front of you now, poised to graduate from one of the best universities this country has to offer, I will assure you that there is space here for you. I will assure you that you deserve to be here, and your Hopkins experience will nurture your existing potential. The years to come will challenge you in order to prepare you to lead the world. There are boundless opportunities and resources here for you. Ask for them, seek them out, demand them if they do not exist. You are on the forefront of enacting change. The energy and excellence that this institution exudes is constructed by you. The Hopkins community is made better when you embrace the spectrum of naturally occurring collegiate highs and lows. The potential to make an impact and define your experience is within your grasp because you deserve to be here. Welcome to Johns Hopkins. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Bill Stromberg, a 1982 graduate of the Whiting School of Engineering and member of the university's Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Aspen. And Joshua, just to show everybody out there that even old folks can do this, I can't tell you how many times I said, I need help when I was here, and every time that help was available to me. So don't be bashful. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I am very delighted to welcome you here, the class of 2023, and transfer students. As you heard, I was a Blue Jay from the 80s. It feels like a long time ago, but it really wasn't that long ago. And I still remember the excitement I had. I still remember the apprehension I had this first week. It feels like going back in time to me. I can confirm to you, though, that you all know a lot more than you think you know. Think about it. As some of the most talented students in the world, you likely did a lot of research on Johns Hopkins before committing to attend here. So you might know some of the trivia about the school, the fact that we have 27 Nobel laureates, past and present, with 3 here in the current faculty. You might know that our researchers invented the first implantable rechargeable pacemaker for cardiac disorders in 1972. And you might even know that the Johns Hopkins baseball team competed for the Division III National Championship for the first time last year since 2010. As a captain of the baseball team years ago, I needed to do a shout out. And finally, I'll bet you have probably already had that experience, that wonderful experience, whether it's with friends or family, of saying, it's Johns Hopkins. So you see, you're already part of the Hopkins family, and you always will be. Now, while you call this place home, I'm going to encourage you to take advantage of all that it has to offer, and it has so much to offer. Engage with the outstanding professors who are leaders in their fields. Immerse yourself in the hundreds of potential courses that are going to challenge you, but they're also going to fascinate you. Immerse yourself and embrace the opportunity that you have to explore pressing global, local issues, whether they're here or all over the world. Engage, do the research, do original research, and of course, learn from each other and support each other. Make friends. But preparing for the rest of your life isn't the only reason you're here at Johns Hopkins. It's not just about academic pursuits. So my most important piece of advice for you is to be all in while you're here. If you see a game of Frisbee out on the beach, join in. If you have always wanted to sing a cappella, you'll have plenty of chance to join in and chime in. If there's a lecture on space exploration, sit in. If you see an opportunity to serve your fellow students or the community, pitch in. And if you see an opportunity to bring about positive change, lean in. You are a group that is incredibly, incredibly talented and ambitious, and you've come to just the right place at the right time in history. There are few universities on this planet that can better prepare you to make a positive difference in the world than Johns Hopkins University. President Daniels, your deans, and all of my fellow trustees look forward to everything you're going to accomplish, not just while you're here, but after you graduate and all the wonderful things you're going to bring into this world. Again, I'm really delighted to speak on behalf of my trustees to welcome you to the Hopkins family and to wish you the very, very best on your Hopkins journey. Thank you.
Vice Provost David Phillips will now present the new students.
On behalf of the whole admission staff, welcome newest members of the Johns Hopkins community. Welcome to our first-year students, and welcome to our mighty, mighty group of transfer students. You come to Hopkins, each one of you bringing unique backgrounds, identities, and experiences. I'm sure you've met some of your new classmates, but I want to give you a broader sense of just how diverse this group is. You come to us from Baltimore to Uzbekistan, from the most rural communities to the most urban. There are students from over 40 countries and 49 states and territories. Well over 1,000 high schools and 82 colleges and universities are represented. You are humanists, engineers, social scientists, and natural scientists. Many are continuing a long tradition of higher education, while 18% of you are blazing a trail by being the first in your family to attend college. You come here as artists, musicians, politicians, athletes, explorers, advocates for things like social justice or the environment, just to name a few. In all the different ways that you've expressed yourselves through your interests and your activities. What leapt off the pages in all of your applications and made us take notice was the motivations we saw underlying the involvement. We saw a passion for discovery, and a strong connection to the world around you. You pushed knowledge further in and out of the classroom. You enriched people's lives through artistic and cultural endeavors. Where you saw a vulnerable population or people in need, you got involved to make their lives better. You worked to contribute to your family and cared deeply about your classmates, communities, and the most pressing issues facing the world. These are the qualities that made you rise up out of the nearly 32,000 first-year and transfer applications we received this year, the largest and most competitive ever for both groups. Passion for discovery and the desire to make an impact are a big part of the Johns Hopkins ethos and what makes this one of the most impactful universities in the world. Your varied and unique expression of those qualities is what makes us so excited to see how much you will develop here and how much you are going to impact Johns Hopkins. And it makes me extremely proud to present you officially to President Daniels. President Daniels, will you please join me at the lectern? And the Canadians. Good, get them out. Mr. President, I am pleased to present to you the first-year students who make up the class of 2023 and our transfer students who are members of the classes of 2021 and 2022. Impassioned in their pursuit of knowledge, leaders in their schools and communities, and a group that will greatly contribute to the Johns Hopkins community, Baltimore, and the world. I look forward to seeing their rise to greatness. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Vice Provost Phillips. Thanks, Joshua and Aspen, for your words, to the Archipelago Project, the Sirens, and the All-Nighters for their great performances. Thanks to our entire orientation team for doing such a phenomenal job. And to Trustee Bill Stromberg for sharing his thoughts and for so much more that he does as a very proud son of Johns Hopkins University. And so with that, without any further ado, let me now welcome officially the great class of 2023 and all our great transfer students to Johns Hopkins University. Okay, so here you are, the final countdown to your first day of classes. There are classes that do commence here at Johns Hopkins, has begun. It's a time of great excitement and perhaps a little trepidation. I was thinking back this morning to my time as an undergraduate student, and I can remember if I wanted to describe that time, I would say that I was probably in a constant state of terrified exhilaration. Don't worry, it passes in about 4 years or so. Now, you might be wondering what your first assignments will be. Sooner or later, the icebreakers are over and the courses begin. The first big paper, the first exam, or perhaps most demanding, the first group project with a new cohort in which your fate rests in the hands of the collective. You know, no individual grades, it is the group grade. And tonight, I want to put your minds at ease because trust me, no matter how challenging, how intimidating your first assignment will be, it could be worse, much worse. Consider the example of an assignment that was due 50 years ago this past summer. In that case, the professor of the class was none other than President John F. Kennedy. The due date was much sooner than originally assigned, with no possibility of extension. And completing it would require thousands of people from different backgrounds and different disciplines in different locations to work together. Here was the mission.
11, 10, 9, ignition sequence starts.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
The assignment, of course, was a historic moon landing of July 20th, 1969, one of humankind's most monumental feats. We know, in retrospect, the team executed it with brilliance, with verve, and with majesty. But when President Kennedy first issued the challenge, made the summons 8 years earlier, success was far from a foregone conclusion. The United States was trailing the Soviet Union, its chief rival in the space race, at every turn. The Soviets had launched the first artificial satellite into Earth's orbit and had put the first human into space. President Kennedy understood that the United States couldn't win the space race by playing catch-up. He had to change the game. And so he set an almost unfathomable goal on an audacious timeline, one that would require the can-do spirit, the boundless imagination and bold ambition that have fueled all of our country's greatest achievements. Like I said, not an easy first-year group project. So, after Kennedy's bracing announcement, NASA announced a tight timeline and presented a bewildering array of questions. How do we transport human beings 240,000 miles to the moon? How do we get them safely onto the lunar surface? Finally, how do we get them back, and all without the aid of Stark Industries rocket-propelled spacesuits? Now, two big ideas were under consideration. The first was called direct ascent. In this scenario, a single rocket blasts off from Earth and lands on the moon. Sounds straightforward, but that's what a lot of eminent NASA scientists thought too at first. Except that a trip of 240,000 miles requires, and excuse the pun, an astronomical amount of fuel and a rocket large enough to carry it. Imagine a cross between an Imperial cruiser, the Empire State Building, complete with a 100-story elevator to take astronauts down onto the lunar surface. Now, the other idea was called orbital rendezvous. This plan would get the astronauts to the moon in stages. First, the shuttle would blast into orbit, then a module would detach from the main spacecraft to land on the surface of the moon. When it was time to return home, the module would reconnect to the main spacecraft and be carried back to Earth. Now, this approach had the advantage, among other things, of using smaller craft and requiring less fuel. The downside was that the astronauts would be required to detach and reattach parts of the spacecraft in space, all the while traveling at many thousands of miles an hour. Imagine three-dimensional parallel parking at breakneck speed. Now, both ideas were enormously risky and devilishly complex, and NASA didn't have the money, the people, or the time to pursue both. One idea had to win the day, and the clock was ticking. So NASA tasked the most gifted engineers on the planet with determining which approach should prevail. And in meeting after meeting, paper after paper, and equation upon equation, the various camps made their pitches. But as you know from your own experiences, collaboration is seldom without stress. And as months sped by and the pressures mounted, passions flared, and people dug into their positions. They became quite entrenched for one idea or the other. And some stopped listening to one another altogether, including the chief of spaceflight programs, who was a die-hard advocate for direct ascent. At one gathering, he told his colleagues, and I quote, "I've been right most of my life about things, and if you guys are going to talk about rendezvous as a way of going back to the moon, forget it." Simple, succinct, straight to the point. And as the faculty behind me will attest, these kinds of statements are typically not the kinds of conversation starters among colleagues here that we really value and see as reasoned debate and discourse. Now, others at NASA were less dug in and used the heated debate as an opportunity to deepen and refine their ideas, to make them stronger. One of those was John Hobart, NASA's most tireless advocate for orbital rendezvous. Throughout the process, he faced withering criticism, even accusations of falsifying data. But he didn't flinch. He kept reworking his calculations and pressing the group to think more expansively. As he said at the time, do we want to go to the moon or not? And if so, why do we have to restrict our thinking to a certain narrow channel? Slowly but surely, he began to win over the skeptics. And when the time came for the heads of NASA to decide on the final approach in order to meet the president's deadline, the scientists argued their case one last time. And Rendezvous won the day.
The Eagle has wings. Looking good. Resting. Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
And the rest is history. Now, I think I can safely predict, though not with complete confidence, that your first assignment at Hopkins will likely not involve interplanetary travel. I'm not so assured about the second. I can only promise you, like those at NASA, not only the space scientists, but the entire organization that made the moon landing happen, you are joining a community which believes deeply and passionately in the power of ideas to expand the horizons of knowledge and to advance the flourishing of our planet and humankind. That is why you, indeed, why all of us are here. And we are a community that understands that ideas don't bloom in solitary and stifling darkness, but in the clarifying and dazzling sunlight of spirited debate and conversation. Like NASA's intrepid engineer, John Hobart, we hope that you will discover and develop ideas that you are willing to champion bravely in the public square. We hope that you too will expose those ideas to perspectives radically different from your own, so to the end, your positions, your convictions are sharper, stronger, and more compelling. Because when we confine our thinking to narrow channels, we deaden our curiosity and undermine our best chances to understand and address issues of importance to us all. These are not mere platitudes. We have the data to prove it. Just check out a recent study in the journal called Nature that showed scientific papers with a greater diversity of authors have more impact. Differing perspectives, differing backgrounds and experiences coalesce to produce more creative, relevant, and compelling ideas. As philosopher John Stuart Mill trenchantly observed, it is hardly possible to overrate the value of placing human beings in contact with persons dissimilar to themselves, and with modes of thought and action unlike those with which they are familiar. Such communication, he said, and he's right, they are the primary source of progress. And so, my call, our entreaty to you as you enter our academic community is this: throw yourself entirely and without reservation into exploring big, urgent, complex questions. Fiercely fight for your beliefs, but also listen intensively and respectfully to fiercely held ideas of others. Be architects of a call-in rather than a call-out culture. Ask hard questions of your peers, your professors, and yes, even your university president. Be open to answers that will guide and shape your thinking, even as your perspective strengthens the thinking of others. And know, above all, that you will not be going it alone, but in concert with others who share your aspirations and who want to see them take soaring flight. I have no doubt that you will bring forward ideas as outlandish or perhaps even impossible as they may first seem, that will be the ones that will help us understand and improve our world and the worlds beyond. To our newest Blue Jays, the class of 2023, bon voyage. There's a script here for us. We need help.
Let me do this.
You got it?
Yeah, let me give that back to you. Thank you, President Daniels. Please remain with me at the lectern for the class banner presentation.
I had a sense you were going to ask me to do that.
Oh, yeah, cool. I'm also going to ask Trustee Stromberg to join us. Thank you. Class banners are a Johns Hopkins tradition dating back to 1881, and the Alumni Association asked the members of the class of 2023 to design a banner that shows your class pride. This year, members of your class submitted banner designs, and the class of 2023 voted on its favorite designs, and its final decision was placed in your hands. I am pleased to announce the winner of the class of 2023 banner was designed by Andrea Zhang. At this time, oh, yeah. At this time, I would like to call Andrea to come back to the stage and present her banner for the class of 2023.
Step away from the podium.
On behalf of the class of 2023, I am proud to present this banner to be hung in Eisenhower Library at Johns Hopkins University.
Stand there. Thank you, Andrea. I accept this banner with the greatest anticipation of the important contributions that members of this class will make in the coming years on campus and off as students and as members of our alumni faculty. And we're going to display it very proudly here on the campus in the Eisenhower Library. Now, as is traditional, I now turn the podium over to the two deans of the undergraduate schools, or schools having undergraduate programs, I should say, the leaders of the Krieger and Whiting schools. Can I hear from the Krieger students, please? Not so shabby. Anyone here from Whiting? Very impressive indeed. Well, welcome to you all again. And now I'm going to turn the podium over to the Dean of the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences, Beverly Wendland. She will be in turn followed by Ed Schlesinger, the Dean of the Whiting School of Engineering. These are two wonderful colleagues who are passionately committed to the ideals of higher education, but deeply, deeply committed first and foremost to undergraduate education and to your central role on our campus. I'm really delighted that they're here to speak to you. Beverly.
All right, I think we need to give the Krieger School students another shot at announcing yourselves. So let's hear it one more time. All right. That is more like it. Thank you. All right, good evening. My name is Beverly Wendland, and I'm the Dean of the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences. And on behalf of my colleagues and all of our students, I welcome the members of the class of 2023 and our new transfer students to the Johns Hopkins family. We are really, really glad that you're here. You are about to embark on an adventure, one of learning, discovery, opportunity, and exploration. During your time at Hopkins, you will meet new people, some who will become lifelong friends, and you will also be exposed to new ideas in many broad fields. Whenever I have a chance to speak to seniors who are getting ready to graduate, I like to ask them, what advice would you give to students who are just getting started at Hopkins? And they almost always say the same thing, get involved. That doesn't just mean joining a club or an intramural sports team, although I recommend both of those things. Getting involved means immersing yourselves in the Hopkins experience in different ways, such as signing up for a course that is totally outside of your comfort zone, or applying for a research grant, even if you think you might not get it. Don't be timid about discovery. I'm a scientist, and I can tell you that discovery usually happens in unexpected places, and it always involves trial and error, but first you have to try. I also encourage you to immerse yourselves in the Baltimore experience. Johns Hopkins is an integral part of Baltimore, and we take our role as good neighbor very seriously. Like any large American city, Baltimore has its challenges and also its rewards, like vibrant ethnic background or neighborhoods, a rich history, tree-filled parks and sparkling lakes, and of course, lots of great places to get our signature crab cake. And for you, our new students, Baltimore offers so much opportunity. I guarantee that when you start exploring Baltimore, especially if you do it through a Hopkins course or an initiative, you will meet new people, hear new voices, and gain new perspectives. For example, one thing you can think about is applying for a summer community impact internship. One student, Jack, who is starting his junior year, spent the summer months in one of these internships, and he was working at a Baltimore boxing club that engages young people in a safe and supportive environment. When asked about the experience, Jack said, and I quote, it's been so thought-provoking, I'm learning to be a part of a community of people who are dissimilar from myself with different backgrounds. Jack talks about how he learned to have productive dialogue with people he might otherwise not have met. Another student, Brooke, had a summer internship tutoring and mentoring juveniles charged as adults at a detention center. She says, we talked about their futures, about hope, about transformation. The fulfillment I got from my work is indescribable, and it came from the simple realization that with the right amount of support, resources, and determination, people could go much further than they could go alone. If a summer internship isn't your thing, there are other ways to get engaged with Baltimore. We have the President's Day of Service next month, where students fan out across the city and volunteer by planting trees or painting walls or leading a neighborhood cleanup. You can get involved with our SNF Agora Institute, whose goal is to strengthen civic engagement and inclusive dialogue. Or perhaps you would want to become part of our 21st Century Cities initiative that aims to improve the quality of life for people who live in cities. Baltimore is a big and wondrous city, and I encourage you to pop out of the so-called Hopkins bubble and see what it's all about. The insight you gain from Baltimore and its residents will complement the knowledge you learn in the classroom and the laboratory, and when you graduate, you will be ready to take on the world and make a true difference. That's the Hopkins way. And so now I'm pleased to introduce my colleague, Ed Schlesinger, the Benjamin T. Rome Dean of the Whiting School of Engineering.
Thank you, Dean Wendland, and thank you and welcome to all of you, and welcome to Hopkins. I have a question for you. Right now, at a time when you suddenly have freedom to make your own choices and a world of opportunities in front of you, do you want to trust computer algorithms to make your life decisions? Well, guess what? You already do. What you see on Instagram, what you watched on Netflix last night, why certain colleges sent you materials for their admissions process, in fact, why some of you might be here, all brought to you by algorithms. In many ways, Amazon knows more about you than your best friend does. Well enough to know you're about to run out of toothpaste. We are all so predictable, which can be convenient. Predictability saves us time and money. Subscribe and save. And what's familiar is also comforting. Come to Baltimore and eat the same foods you did at home. Know what your high school friends had for dinner last night, with photos. Choose classes in which you know you'll excel. But predictability is also limiting. Relying on your past data to make real-life decisions means you're perpetuating your own biases. You're creating filters that reduce your options and the chance that you'll discover something, someone, somewhere new and wonderful. At a time when your life is defined by a new degree of independence, in a place where you're meant to be exploring new interests and even creating knowledge, I urge you not to settle for predictability. So what's the alternative? Letting randomness determine your life decisions? And I don't mean random in the way it's often used today. In fact, that party you went to was not totally random. It was at the home of someone in your circle of friends, a mile from your house. What I mean is, are you willing to truly randomize your life? To not rely on your past behaviors and interests and your old circle of friends to define your options and experiences, to be open to anything. A few years ago, I heard an interview on NPR with a fellow named Max Hopkins. Max had been an engineer working at Google, eating the free food, and life was good. But he wasn't happy. He said he felt trapped in a loop, that his life was totally predictable, like he was following a script. Yet he couldn't figure out how to remove himself from a life that had been structured by his own decisions and his own preferences. So he approached the problem as any engineer would. He built an app, a randomizer, to randomize his life. Amongst its earliest functions, it would search Facebook and select at random an event near him that he would attend, no matter what it was. A community pancake breakfast, a socialist rally, Christmas dinner at a stranger's house. He did it all. And these random experiences made him feel more connected to the world. His life was enriched in ways he never could have anticipated. And I want to pause here. I am not, and I want to make it very clear, I am not recommending and would never recommend that you do what Max did. Going to random places with random people is irresponsible and reckless, no matter who you are and where you live. Max was lucky, and he didn't run into trouble. And though I seriously question the wisdom of his methods, I do think there's an important takeaway for you. As you begin this new chapter in your life, you have an opportunity to free yourself from your own loop and strike a balance between randomness and predictability. Enjoy the benefits of the algorithms, but don't let momentum define who you are and dictate what you do. Of course, stick with your toothpaste brand if you like it, because sometimes doing what's predictable is also the best option. But also join a club that is completely unrelated to any activity you have ever done before. And if robotics or creative nonfiction is what you love, you're definitely at the right place, and I urge you to take full advantage of being here and dig in deep. But I also suggest that you take one class that makes your parents gasp and question why they sent you here. Waiting for your number to be called at the walk in Levering? Say hi to the person in line next to you. It's pretty simple and you can do it. I know you're all smart, driven, and accomplished. How do I know this? Well, I've seen the admissions data, of course, and my algorithm predicts that you'll do great things here at Hopkins. I'm looking forward to seeing what they are. Welcome to Johns Hopkins.
At this time, I'd like to welcome Vice Provost Alana Shanahan.
Hi. So I've got some good news for you. This ceremony officially concludes new student orientation. Well done. So obviously, we're thrilled to welcome you to the Blue Jay family. Our goal this week was to equip you with the most fundamental tools to start your JHU careers off on the right foot. We hope that you've met interesting people, explored our campus and our city, and are ready and excited for classes to start tomorrow. But be assured, this is only the beginning. From here, your Hopkins experience is yours to create. You will find countless opportunities to deepen your understanding of yourselves, your peers, and the world around you. I encourage you to engage in discussions, ask questions, and connect with classmates who have different perspectives and experiences. These conversations may not always be easy, but they're valuable learning moments. We thrive and grow as a community when we grant each other the freedom to express ourselves. Our faculty and staff will always be here to support you, and we have a variety of programs dedicated to students' physical and mental well-being. Vice Provost Kevin Schallenberger, who's here tonight, leads a group of dedicated student affairs professionals focused on your well-being, and I hope that you will feel empowered to seek assistance when you need it. I hope that you will remember to balance the rigors of your academic experience by taking time to reflect, to recharge, and to attend to your personal well-being. And most of all, I hope you find what excites you, that you find the courses and activities that inspire you, and that you seek out experiences both inside and outside of the classroom that not only play to your strengths, but also reveal opportunities for growth. There will be many pursuits to choose from, whether honing your leadership skills in one of the 400 student organizations we sponsor, whether exploring the political and social complexities of Baltimore and other urban areas through our Center for Social Concern, participating in a hackathon to bring a software or a hardware idea to life, contributing your voice to the Identity and Inclusion workshops sponsored by the Office of Multicultural Affairs, or participating in one of the many other programs offered by our Diversity and Inclusion Office. Whatever path you choose, I wish you success on your journey. Enjoy all that your time at Hopkins has to offer you, and remember to take time to reflect on the things that you learn. Whether you're embarking on your first year of college or have recently transferred to Hopkins, the community that you have joined this week will forever be a part of your life, and we are excited to share in this experience with you. So at this point, I ask everyone to stand and join me in celebrating our newest Blue Jays.
Thank you. Please remain standing. We thank you for your presence here tonight and wish all of you a great year here at Johns Hopkins. At this time, please join us in singing the new adaptation of the Johns Hopkins University Ode. The words can be found on the screens and in your program.
Truth guide our university, and from all error keep us free. Let knowledge grow from more to more, and may our scholar spirit soar. Their souls for light forever burn. Send forth thy fire that they may learn, and let their faithful teachings be the truth alone can make us free. May wisdom be our nobler aim, and learning set our hearts aflame, and let our watchword ever be the truth, for I shall keep us free.
We thank you for joining us here today and wish everyone the utmost success at Johns Hopkins. I have a couple of announcements before we conclude. Everyone in attendance this evening is invited to a dessert reception immediately following the recessional. The reception will be held at the opposite end of the gymnasium. During the recessional, the students are asked to remain seated until the recession of the principals, the officials, and members of the faculty is complete. The convocation ceremony is now adjourned.